With Jordan Walker heating up, will the Cardinals give him the call? Joe Adell is launching homers left and right in the minors. Is he worth one last chance? Join us for a gripping episode as we provide you with the best dashes for your IL and watch list on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here with my brother, co-host, partner in crime, Matthew Ane.
Yo, what's up, guys?
You can find us on all social media platforms and podcasting apps. Just search for Locked On Fantasy Baseball and we'll be there. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it. If you can go and do that for us, helps a long way to grow the outreach of the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit the little bell below, subscribe to the channel. Also gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And once again, if you're on YouTube, please be sure to like and comment because we love to talk fantasy baseball with you. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price always guaranteed. And Locked On Fantasy Baseball fans, we got a fully loaded one for you today. Let us be your team secret weapons as always, while we provide you with the best stashes for your IL and watch list. Matt, my brother, who do we have up first today?
All right, let's talk about Mr. Jordan Walker. Let's talk about one of my favorite guys, coming into the year. Fortunately, the Cards did him dirty and sent him down, wouldn't let him work out his problems up in the bigs. I understand he was hitting a lot of ground balls. His defense wasn't great being in the outfield because he mainly played third base for most of his minor league career into the last year. So I get it. But I mean, you know what? You don't just call up a 19-year-old and then just say, okay, see you later, go back to the minors and figure it the hell out. So, we saw a slump. And quite honestly, people were asking in the questions, I think we even said it on the pod, hey, should I drop him since I drafted him? You know what? Our answer was yes. Now, like I always say from the beginning of the year, from draft season, stay like water because, you may want to come back to this guy, even though you gave up on him. So this is that episode where you put him on your watch list. And right now he's doing a couple things, right? So in the minors in the month of May, because April was horrendous when he came back, which is understandable. He has 12 runs, 6 doubles, 2 bombs, 13 ribs. He struck out a whole bunch, and he's batting about 237. But, here's the thing. Oh, and 4 stolen bases. Here's the thing, though, and what I'm going to take this as. He didn't start really heating up until the last couple of games. He started really putting some hits together and whatnot. He's still, not giving you the 300 batting average or even the mid-200s, but it's coming up. I see a trend. I see something in Jordan Walker that we're going to start seeing him start mashing soon because, he's a young player. He's probably very volatile at this moment. But once he gets that confidence, Jordan Walker's absolutely unstoppable. And that's why he broke camp. So this is why we're saying just watch him. Don't add him. I would not add him, but watch him for now. And unless you're in a league where everybody is super aggressive with adding all prospects and holding them for half the season, I would just watch him because I don't know when they're going to give him the call. Maybe it's after the All-Star break, but Jordan Walker at some point is going to come up again. But I'm not holding on to him until I start seeing 2 home runs, a home run a week or 2 home runs a week. He's batting them, mid to high 200s, and he's just stealing everything under the sun like we know he can. Once he starts doing that, that's when you could start saying, okay, I need to get this kid. But right now he's a hold. Just keep him on the watch from a distance. It's Jordan Walker.
Yeah, Jordan Walker the last 2 weeks, though, hitting over 300, a couple of bombs. he's been looking a lot better. The stolen bases have been there a bit, and we all know he's a dual threat, maybe like a Ronald Acuna light. The kid's still young, as Matt mentioned. I believe he's still 21 years old, 6'6", 245. He's got that man body already. The Cardinals, are fighting in that NL Central. It's super, super close over there with, everybody within a couple of games of each other. They need a spark plug. I think Jordan Walker could be that spark plug. 40% owned on Yahoo. I'll tell you this: if you're in a deeper league, like a 12-man league, and you're in a like first, second, third, and you can afford to have somebody on your bench, or you have an extra NA spot, and Jordan Walker's out there, I think he's a sneaky ad now, because I feel like it could be an any day type of thing when either somebody gets hurt on the Cardinals, or they just say, screw it, and, let's get this kid back up here and let him thrive, because he was great in his first, 2 weeks before, he went, maybe it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks, where he was had 12 games in a row with a hit, and he was just looking fantastic. I think Jordan Walker, somebody keep on your radar, throw him on your watch list. If you can afford to add him now, because once he gets added, it's a race to the waiver wire to go get him. He's one of the best prospects in all of baseball, if not the best. Let's move on, though. Let's get you guys a pitcher, somebody that, I've talked about on this podcast before, somebody I'm a big advocate for, and it's Andrew Abbott. Now, Andrew Abbott, man, this guy is something else. He throws pretty hard, big dude, 6 foot, 200 pounds, got that man body on him already. And, that's the last time we talked about him. He started thriving again, had a little rough start in AAA, but on the total in AAA so far this year, 7 starts, 3.05 ERA, 38 innings, 54 strikeouts, 107 WHIP. If we can combine that with his first couple of starts in AA on the year in the minors, it goes to 10 starts for Abbott, 2.50 ERA, 54 innings, a minor league leading 90 strikeouts. I think the next closest guy to him is at 77. So he is absolutely dominating in the strikeout department with the 0.92 WHIP for Andrew Abbott. I think the Reds at some point, I say within the next month or so, are going to go all in. They're going to call up Abbott. They're going to call up Ellie De La Cruz. They're going to call up Encarnacion Strand. And those are all names, we might talk about some of them next week, in depth a little bit more. But Andrew Abbott could be a difference maker as starting pitcher. Reminds me a little bit of that Spencer Strider type of, he's got, a good velocity, got decent breaking stuff, huge strikeout potential. I don't think he'll be as good as Strider, but somebody that you're definitely going to want to look out for. Once again, Andrew Abbott, starting pitcher, Cincinnati Reds, very, very lowly owned on Yahoo. Throw him on the watch list for now. I wouldn't say add him yet.
Yeah, great take, Dom. Great take. I don't think I need to say anything else. Let's move on here. Let's talk about Mr. Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams, Cleveland Guardian prospect. He is absolutely bananas. I love this kid. Quite honestly, he's probably one of my favorite pitching prospects coming into the year, period. He's played through 2 levels, AA and AAA, and he's smoking it down in AAA right now with a 2.25 ERA. He has 32 innings pitched. He has 42 Ks. Repeat that, 42 Ks to 32 innings pitched. And in AA, he had 14 innings pitched and he had 20. So he has 62 strikeouts on the year right now. His whip in AA was sub 1 at a 0.62. And in AAA, a 1 on the dime. So, Gavin Williams is a great pitching prospect, hands down. Now, the only thing is there's a little bit of a cluster up in Cleveland right now. The only guy that's even exposed that I think is probably going to get the call down is probably Cal Quantrill. He's definitely not keeping it. But the problem is you're going to have Tristan McKenzie coming back next week, and you're also going to have Aaron Savali, who we talked about in the waiver wire show this week. Now, the only thing is those 2 guys I just named are flanges guys, right? And I love Tristan McKenzie and Savali, but they do like to get hurt. So it may take just that for Gavin Williams to get the call up. So, he's somebody that you want to watch. I don't know about Holden either. This is just where I'm at, where I just don't know what to do in terms of this. He will be another rush to the waiver wire when he gets called, but, he's somebody I don't know when, if, or how. So I would just keep an eye out for Gavin Williams, and I would not add him.
Yeah, Matt, great take. Gavin Williams is such a great young pitcher. He doesn't give up runs at all with a sub 2 ERA each of the last 3 years, including this year. Pretty solid, with the strikeouts. I think he'll be right around that K per 9. More of a finesse type pitcher. Very, very good. Reminds me of Tristan McKenzie when it comes to, not giving up too many hits, not giving up too many walks. Absolute stud. And then Savali's pitching on Friday, and as you said, McKenzie's back. There might not be a spot for him imminently, but we will see where things go. But real quick, before I move on, we got a sponsor for you guys, and we're going to talk about the Gametime ticket purchasing app. Have you ever tried to buy tickets to see your favorite artist or sports team and wound up being stressed out by how much of a hassle it can be? Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful, especially with that, NBA finals coming up. You might want to get some tickets for that Nuggets Heat series, which is going to be absolutely fire. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Using the Gametime app is super rewarding with flash deals and last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, images and views from the seats you'll be sitting in, lowest price guarantee, and event cancellation protection. I mean, there's a reason why it's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets and the lowest price is always guaranteed. And we want to thank our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Be sure to be on the lookout for a new episode tomorrow where Matt and I provide you with the must-add players heading into this weekend. And real quick, guys, we're almost at 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we couldn't have done it without you. If you enjoy this show and want to help us out, please share this podcast with a few friends who also enjoy fantasy baseball or just baseball in general. We'd be truly grateful for your support. And up next, we have few more young gun prospects like Joe Adell and Ronny Mauricio. Then we're going to get into some IL stashes like Tarik Skubal and Kenta Maeda. But Matt, my brother, who do we have up next?
All right. Let's talk about Mr. Joe Adell. Somebody that's been just like smacking the ball all around the minor league system. It's actually crazy. And you guys are probably rolling your eyes with me bringing up this kid's name for the umpteenth time. And probably every other podcast as well. But here's the thing, right? The kid's 24 years old. He got his first big shot, right, at 21, which, you know what? You can't expect the kid to just come up and do his thing like, prospects like Acuna, Soto, Jordan, and, the list goes on of all guys. It's not like everybody. I mean, look at with Vladdy, how long it took Vladdy. Look how long it took Wander, right? Like, sometimes it does take time. So Joe Adell may just take a little bit longer. We shall see. But let's read about what he's doing right now. Let me just stop going off and making excuses. Let me back it up with the proof in the pudding here. So 187 at-bats in AAA. He has 36 runs, 11 doubles, 17 bombs, leading all of the minor leagues in home runs right now. 41 ribs, 4 stolen bases, and he's batting about 278. I'm loving this with an OPS of 975. Like, he is doing his thing. Now, I am cautiously optimistic on Joe Adell. If he gets the call, I will give him a shot. I'm not expecting the world, but the hype is real right now, and we shall see what happens. Now, here's the other caveat. We did see Kelenic do this last year. He, went down into the minors, smoked it, got the call back, and then did absolutely nothing, pooped in his big boy pants. But we shall see. This is Joe Adell's third year. Took Kelenic 3 years as well. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is the time. We shall see. But, don't be like, oh, my God, I got to drop my whole fab on this dude. But he is somebody that you have to watch and possibly add, but I would not stash.
Yeah, Matt, you hit the nail on the head with a lot of your analysis. Joe Adell is still super young at 24 years old. I think, he's 2% owned on Yahoo. He's a watchlist guy. Don't add him right now. Watchlist guy. There's not really a true opening there in the Angels lineup at the moment. But, if there's an injury that pops up or something like that, I wouldn't be surprised if they give Joe Adell the call. Takes time. Takes times with these young kids. It's not, back to the last couple of years, as I mentioned, the names of the guys that have came up and dominated, like Acuna, etc. But Joe Adell, like Kelenic and some of these other guys might just be a little bit, take time to adjust to the game. Joe Adell, somebody you definitely want to keep your eye on. Let's move on, though. And let's talk about another New York Met. New York Mets have been kind of, like ready to call up a lot of prospects. We've seen Vientos. We've seen Francisco Alvarez. We've seen quite a few of these guys. So with Ronny Mauricio, who the guy we're about to talk about here, had a monster spring training, kind of threw his name higher and higher on the prospect list. He's 6'3", 222, very, very big boy, only 22 years old. He's been absolutely, raking down in the minors this year. Like I said, after that strong spring training start, he's really making a case for himself. And this is a team where they do have some openings where Mauricio can come up and, fit into that lineup, whether it's at DH or, taking maybe Marcana's spot in the outfield. So Mauricio so far in the minors this year in AAA to add 51 games, 37 runs, 22 doubles, 2 triples, 7 homers, 33 RBIs with 9 steals, 341 batting average. I believe I remember, reading that he made a change with his swing or something like that coming into spring training, and it's paying off in dividends. This guy's got power. He's got speed, very Jordan Walker-esque, type of numbers in the minors. I think if Mauricio comes up, he's a must-add. Right now on Yahoo, I'd say, or anywhere you play, throw him on your watch list, see where the things go. I wouldn't be shocked that, as I said, the Mets kind of have been ready to call up a lot of their prospects. Mauricio's actually more owned than Joe Adell, believe it or not. Mauricio's at 9% on Yahoo, but throw him on the watch list for now and see where things go. Once again, Ronny Mauricio, prospect for the New York Mets.
Yeah, no, great take on Mauricio. He definitely solid. Definitely an ad at some point this season, but let's move on here. I don't think I need to comment anymore. Let's talk about Tarik Skubal. Tarik Skubal.
Yeah, man, you get my boy today. You get my boy. You got to do him justice.
I know. I'm thinking Tarik Dactyl. Maybe that's what we're gonna go with. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. We got to call him that. That's a great nickname, though. I'm saying we call Tarik Skubal the Pterodactyl. I love that. Actually, I'm on board. We're making claim here on Locked On Fantasy Baseball for that nickname. If it catches on, Matt came up with it first. The Pterodactyl, Tarik Skubal.
TM trademark.
Yeah, trademark.
All right, let's talk about Mr. Skubal here. And you know what? Let's do a deep dive here because my guy is coming off an elbow injury,
yes.
And it's one of those things where it's really sad. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. He did have a really good season in the short stint he played though, right? So 117 innings last year. He had 7 wins. He had 117 Ks. So that's a K per 9 right on the dime. How you doing? He had a 3.52 ERA with a 1.16 WHIP. Now that's great. Hey, I'm excited for him to come back up and do his thing. He's also 25 years old, so there's still a lot of upside on him. I really do like what he can bring to the table. He hasn't really shown too much outside of that little short stint last year before he got hurt, but I do like the deal. Hey, he was a good prospect back in the day, and he never really had a fair shake here with just being injured. And I think last year, if he would have kept going, it probably would have been a lot better than how it is. And plus his FIP was a 2.96. So, I mean, he's well underperforming what his FIP is. So that's fielding independent pitching, if anybody doesn't know that stat. So Skubal is definitely an ad for me the second he comes back. It looks like, just real quick, that he's probably not due back for another couple of weeks. They're saying about 4 to 5 rehab starts. But so, he's going to be the end of June, right before, right after the All-Star break ad. So, during that time, you might want to either add him to your IL closer to the end of June, or if you can now and just see how long you can hold him, or just keep him on your watch list until then.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say add him now. I have Skubal stashed on all my teams pretty much at the moment. He's only 11% owned on Yahoo. Skubal's supposed to start his rehab assignment maybe this weekend or early next week, and as I mentioned, they're saying about 4 or 5 rehab starts for him. So with Skubal, man, it's get him now. If he goes out there in his minor league rehab assignment and has a big game, that's it. 11% jumps to 50% overnight, and you will miss out on grabbing Tarik Skubal, the Pterodactyl. Love that nickname. That's so catchy, bro. And the thing is, He supposedly has been very, very impressive in his bullpens and facing, batters there. I know Detroit doesn't have a lot of great batters for him to face over there, but hey, if he's impressing against those guys, with the year he had last year, he has a solid minor league track record in his one full season in the minors. He was very, very good. That's 2019. He had 24 starts in the minors, 2.42 ERA, 122 innings, 179 Ks, 101 whip. So the strikeout upside is there for Skubal. As Matt mentioned, still only 26 years old. And, the kid was had buzz as a prospect. He wasn't a nobody at all. He was a top end prospect. So I think Skubal's somebody that if you're desperate for starting pitching, or if you're even looking to bolster your rotation a little bit, Skubal's a must add at the moment for me.
Yep. And before we move on and we talk about Trevor Rogers, Kenta Maeda, and Jose Alvarado, we have some great sponsors we need to talk to you about. All right. Thanks, guys, for being patient. Dom, take it away, bro.
Yeah, so next up we have Mr. Trevor Rogers, and just somebody that I got a soft spot for him. Last year, he was banged up a little bit, and I think he was even banged up a little bit the previous year after having that monster rookie year. I think he's got all the talent in the world. Right now he's hurt. He's got that bicep issue. He was, his first two starts were rough this year, and then his his third start was very good against Arizona on April 14th. He went 6 innings, got the win, 7 strikeouts, gave up a run with a 1 whip, and he was pitching well against San Francisco in his fourth start until he left with that injury. But Rogers is scheduled to throw 4 innings in his first minor league rehab start. I think it's next Tuesday. And I think he'll come back, and I think he'll be solid. He's 13% owned on Yahoo. I think he's behind Skubal for me if you want to stash a starting pitcher. But Trevor Rogers is no slouch, man. I'm going to remind you of why Trevor Rogers is somebody that you definitely want to at least give a chance. Let's talk about his his first full year in the bigs, which was 2021. 25 starts for Trevor Rogers that year, 2.64 ERA, 133 innings, 157 strikeouts, a 1.15 whip. So I will say this, the control probably isn't going to be great for him. He's not a control artist, so when he first comes back, the whip might be a little bit high. But hey, he could suppress runs. Miami's not horrible, so he might win a couple of games, not too many. But I think we can't give up on Trevor Rogers yet. Still only 25 years old. Far from the point where we're just going to throw him to the wind. People might have fatigue on him. That's why he's so lowly owned at 13%. Go and give Trevor Rogers an ad if you missed out on a Skubal, or if you just want to, take the chance on him. Definitely worth an IL stash right now.
Absolutely. I mean, last year, if you were with us, Rogers was somebody I didn't want to give up on. And you know what? I still can't get out. I'm a truther. So, I trust him. I don't think that 1 year was a fluke. So, he's definitely worth an ad. Now, let's talk about somebody that was absolutely disappointing over the last couple of years, but, kind of had a couple good starts and then got hurt, and that's Mr. Kenta Maeda. Maeda ended up hurting his triceps, and it's unfortunate because he had a couple really good starts to begin the year and then got blown up and destroyed his ERA. His first outing against Miami had 9 Ks and had a 1.8 ERA, and honestly had us thinking, okay, maybe he's figured something out here. Then he got hit up against the White Sox. Then Boston had a 4.5 ERA, only made about 2 innings. And then he got hurt against the Yankees, and he was done. But Kenta Maeda has a good history. He's serviceable. He's not like this all-star that's going to blow you away back in the 2020 season where he had a 2.70 ERA. That ain't happening. But he could be somebody that can be a nice spot start. And honestly, if you're out there in these leagues right now, pitching is horrendous on the waiver wire. It is so hard to come by. So Kenta Maeda could be an upside in a longer term play. Somebody you own that isn't 100% matchup proof, but I would say about 70 to 75% matchup proof. So he's somebody that I probably want to add now, and he should be coming back soon. Let me find out when they're saying real quick. So it looks like he probably got his first rehab start on Tuesday. And he was hitting about 89 miles per hour. So they're probably going to want him to get up a little bit more. So I guarantee another 2 starts and then he'll be up and probably going. So probably another 2 weeks. So if you can, and if you're really hurting in the pitching side, I would definitely add Kenta Maeda.
Yeah, Maeda's like, once again, we kind of keep going a little bit lower with each guy. Skubal's, I said, number one, then Rogers 2. And if you missed out on both of them, Kenta Maeda, 16% owned on Yahoo. You can give him a shot. As Matt mentioned, I think, Maeda could be like a mid to high threes ERA type of guy, right? Hovers right around that K per 9 region. But with the whip, he's usually pretty solid with the whip. His whole career, as is a 114 whip guy. So, if you want to bite the bullet on Maeda, you need a better whip. I'd go him over Rogers, and because Rogers is going to be a little bit higher of a whip guy, better ERA. So kind of like a give and take there, especially since Rogers pitches in Miami, which is a little bit better of a park to pitch in. But I think Maeda's serviceable. Once again, 16% owned on Yahoo. He'll be back sooner than later. And, as Matt said, he's actually, they're saying that, he hit 89.9 with his fastball, which is actually better than he was doing in his first 4 starts. So that's actually something you like to see. And, there's a couple of spots in that Twins rotation where he could hop in and, get his spot back. But let's move on to our next guy here. And let's talk about Jose Alvarado. He's a little bit more, highly owned than some of the other guys that we talked about today. But if he was dropped in your league, Jose Alvarado was absolutely, dominant before he got, injured here. He had 0.63 ERA, 0.63 whip, 5 saves, 14 innings, 24 Ks. Right now, he's working his way back from that elbow issue. Once again, that's Jose Alvarado. He threw 13 pitches in his last, live batting practice session. Seems like there's been no complications. He should be out on a rehab assignment sometime this weekend. And I could see him, relief pitchers don't need that much time on their minor league rehab assignments. So maybe he'll be back sometime late next week. Once again, Jose Alvarado, closer for the Phillies. Nobody really stepped up in that Phillies bullpen and took the closer role. So I think it's still there from when he comes back. He's 72% owned, but he's down 5% the last week. If he was dropped in your league and he's still out there, I think Jose Alvarado is a great pickup right now. And that's a guy you got to pick up right now.
Yep, absolutely. Or a trade for. I mean, he's not.
Yes.
It's worth taking a shot and trying to snag him up.
100%.
Try and be like at the end of the trade, boop. Okay, I kind of want him to. He'll get the deal done for us. Type player. Alvarado throws gas. My guy hits 100, no problem. So you want to get him. But let's move on here. Great take, Dom.
No, great take by you. You actually snuck in there and made that take very, very good, brother.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's talk about somebody I was high on. I talked about him on our Watchlist show, before the season started, and that's Mr. Kyle Lewis. I don't know if you guys remember what he did during spring training, but man, oh man, did he do something fun. Kyle Lewis had 28 at-bats during all spring training. He had 6 runs. He had 3 doubles, 3 bombs, 11 ribs, had, only 5 strikeouts to 5 walks, which is nice. It's something that he hasn't done in a while, and batted .429. Sorry, I got a little tongue twisted. It's a little hard to read. And then out of nowhere, he makes the team, which we all didn't think he was going to make the Diamondbacks rotation, gets a couple of hits, and honestly took a dump and then gets sick. Now, I don't know what's going on with Kyle Lewis. I pray that everything is good with him now. It's an illness, an undisclosed illness. So it was probably something pretty serious. I'm glad he's coming back. He donged twice in his first rehab start over here. So I hope that Kyle Lewis is able to come back healthy and stay healthy and then kind of get his stuff going and build off of what he did in spring and what it looks like he's about to do in his minor league starts here in the first rehab. So Kyle Lewis is not somebody I'm adding whatsoever. Do not get me wrong. This isn't an add Kyle Lewis segment here. This is a watch. If he somehow earns himself an everyday playing time and these minor league rehab starts start going off, then he's somebody I might add and just see what happens. Leave him on my bench. And if he starts going off and he starts doing his thing, you look like a genius. But Kyle Lewis right now is a watch for certain.
Yeah, I'll throw this out there. Not that I think he's a must add, but if you're playing in an NL only league or a deeper league, 15-man league, I know there's some of you crazies that play in even deeper than 15-man leagues, which I would never do. But hey, man, you got some guys out there that really love fantasy baseball and just will play any type of league like that. I'm a little bit more restrictive in the kind of leagues that I like to play in. But hey, man, if you are, Kyle Lewis is 1% owned. 1% owned on Yahoo. So if you play in one of those deeper leagues or the NL onlys like I'm talking about, add him. Just throw him on your IL, throw him at the end of your bench and see what happens. Because in leagues like that, guys that have this kind of potential don't show up that often. And as Matt mentioned, 2 for 5 with 2 homers in his first rehab start. The Diamondbacks, there's not really a lot of great spots out there. The outfield with Gurriel, who's going off, Jake McCarthy, they're giving another chance. Corbin Carroll's a staple there. He's going to be a staple there for years. Pavin Smith at DH, maybe he can take that spot. So we'll see what happens with Kyle Lewis. The reason that Kyle Lewis still gets all the hype, he had a monster rookie year in 2020. He played 58 games, 206 at-bats, 37 runs, 3 doubles, 11 homers, 28 RBIs, 5 steals, 262. So I think, Kyle Lewis is capable at his peak, 260 hitter, got some pop, maybe 20 bombs, maybe 15, 20 steals. Counting stats could be all right. That Diamondbacks team is, serviceable. So he could be, contributing. Not a total 5 category guy, but he can contribute in all 5 categories when he's healthy and doing right. Once again, Kyle Lewis, 1% owned, Arizona Diamondbacks. But guys, Matt, unless you got anything else to say here, I think we can wrap things up.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
All right, folks, so that is officially all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Check out our website if you already haven't. Also, thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers and new listeners. We wouldn't be where we are without you. But also, make sure you lock on for a new episode tomorrow where Matt and I provide you with the best waiver wire ads heading into the weekend. So, guys, until tomorrow,
peace.